Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Mystic Scales and
And
Fae
Fairy
Tales
Tales Podcast.
podcast.
Da-na-na.
Nah.
Hi,
Today's really
Jen.
exciting. Sorry. Hi Lee. I forget
Sorry,
we never say our
we don't
names.
we're not consistent, so I thought I'd say it.
You're right. I'm Jen.
And I'm Lee.
Welcome to our podcast. It's fantasy reads, sometimes dystopian reads too. We have a book club on the app Fable called Mystic Scales and Fairy Tales Podcast, and we read a book on there and then review it on this podcast. And this is really exciting because this is the first book that actually aligned reading wise. Our other episodes were books like we had just finished in the book group or we're reading along with the group, but now it actually worked out timing. So going forward, every book we read in the group, once that finishes, there will be a podcast episode right after we finish. So it's like you can read and then you go, oh my God, I want to hear more about this book. Like I just want to look up theories and stuff. And then you can come and listen to our episode and it's perfect.
It's so true. We also vote in our book club about what we're reading next, so we're not dictators. We're not just gonna tell you we're
What to
reading
read.
this.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely not. This one though was a huge landslide win. Like
yeah.
this won the poll right away.
Yeah, and I think I also like if it didn't, I would have been like, well, I'm reading it on my own because I was really excited about this book.
So what's the
Um,
book, Lee?
so the book is Quicksilver by Miss Callie Hart. I think we've all seen the cover of our very intense warrior with his silver tear
Teardrop.
and the butterflies. His name is Kingfisher. We were promised that he was the next Shadow Daddy.
Which I didn't really think
Um,
his name was actually going to be Kingfisher in the end, but I
well, it's not, but like we still don't know his true name.
so it looks like Kelly has multiple books out before this, but they're all like I don't know, they're all the like romance books with like the covers of the guys with the no shirts on.
Okay.
It's like
So
those romance. So this
this is
might
her
be her first
first.
fantasy.
This was also one that was like huge on TikTok, and I do remember seeing it last year because it came out in 2024 and being like intrigued but also wary, especially because the cover is not, it doesn't look like a traditionally published book, like I'm gonna be honest.
Mm.
But I still remember seeing it everywhere and being like, yeah, I think I want to buy into this. Like, what is the hype? So it took us some time, but we got there.
I also was, I guess I thought, which I should have just read the back of the book, I thought having the male on the cover was like, oh, it's a male leading fantasy, like
Mm.
romantasy.
Mhm.
And obviously in a lot of fantasies and classic fantasies, there's always male leading characters. And romantasy tends to be female leading characters. So I was like, oh,
Right.
this would be really cool to get like a male perspective if like you're following like the shadow daddy first. And then
Sure.
he meets the human. Like I was like, oh, but ends up that's not what happens. You follow a female main character. But it's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah. I mean, we're used to it, so it's
Yeah.
no big thing. Um,
Should I read the description before we get into it?
yeah, dive right in.
Um, what'd you say?
I said dive right in.
Okay.
Jump into the Quicksilver pool, if you will.
Ha ha ha, you're so funny. Okay. Do not touch the sword. Do not turn the key. Do not open the gate. In the land of unforgiving desert, there isn't much a girl wouldn't do for a glass of water. 24-year-old Sarah Fane is good at keeping secrets. No one knows about the strange power she possesses, or the fact that she's been picking pockets, stealing from the undying queen's reservoirs for as long as she can remember. But a secret is like a knot. Sooner or later, it is bound to come undone. When Sarah comes face to face with death himself, she inadvertently reopens a gateway between realms and is transported to a land of ice and snow. The Fae have always been the stuff of myth, of legend, of nightmares, but it turns out they're real, and Ceres has landed herself in the middle of a centuries-long conflict that might just get her killed. The first of her kind to tread the frozen mountains of Ibelia? Is that the
Mm-hmm.
name of the land?
Mm-hmm.
In over 1,000 years, Ceres mistakenly binds herself to Kingfisher, a handsome Fey warrior who has secrets and nefarious agendas of his own. He will use her alchemist magic to protect his people no matter what it costs him or her. Death has a name, is Kingfisher of the Anjin Gate. His past is murky, his attitude stinks, and he's the only one Saris is going to make it home. He's the only way Saris is going to make it home. Dun, dun, dun. It's rated 4.36 on Goodreads, and it was a
Mm,
nominee for Reader's Favorite Romantasy of 2024.
okay.
Yeah, this was a huge, huge book.
I'm dying because I think you could just tell by our tone how we felt about this book.
Yep, 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 yep. Um,
But you actually finished it mere hours ago, is that
I did.
correct?
I read it in like what,
So
3 days.
yeah, crazy.
I listened
Granted,
to it,
yeah, we did do the audiobook, but
which
you
is
really,
also famous, the audiobook.
yeah, because they have I feel like we also know the woman reader, but the male reader is Anthony Palmini, who also reads for Reese and Akatar. So a familiar.
What he does in this one too, which is different, is they have him read not only like Fisher's character, but he reads every single male
Male.
character in the book, which is pretty
Yeah.
cool because then it he
Yeah.
gives like accents and he does like different
Mhm.
things for these people. So it lets you like have more like
It's like a
kind of
graphic
closer to a
audio.
graphic. Yeah, it's close to
Yeah, in a
graphic.
way. He does a good job. My favorite one was his interpretation of Taladeus, which seems odd because like he wasn't very special, but I just thought he had
Mm.
like a different intonation that made me like him.
I liked his Renfis, his Scottish
Oh,
accent.
his
It was
yeah,
pretty good.
Scottish
Yeah, so
brogue.
you could definitely tell like everything that he would like separate the characters, and that was pretty cool. That
Mm-hmm.
you're able to be like, oh, it's this one. I'm trying to look up this girl. Her name's Stella Bloom. I'm trying to look up whatever we know her in, but it looks like all these books we haven't actually read.
I thought, yeah, I there's a narrator on TikTok who I see a lot, and I thought it might be her, but when I looked her up, it wasn't the same person.
Yeah, no, no. This is like her big. I mean, she's done a lot of audiobooks, but like this is her big one, it looks like, in terms of fantasy. But she's done some like rom-coms too, and she's done a lot of romance novels, it looks like.
Mm.
Um, I don't know if you knew the book Offside. It's a
Is that a
hockey
sports?
one. Yeah,
Yeah.
hockey one. She's done that.
Okay.
So yeah, a couple of those like illustrated covers. But anyway, Quicksilver. Yeah, I think if you're gonna read it, I definitely recommend. I recommend the audiobook, but it was a little hard at times because I don't have the map in front of me. I don't have the
Mm.
names and things like that, which is like great because in our Fable app, every chapter we add like photos, and I added a map, and some other people added maps. So it was great to see like the physical of it. But
Yeah,
it's not. It's different when you're reading it physically. You're gonna just like go back to it and then go like flip
sure.
through, and you're not doing that with audiobooks. Like that is a little hard. And I've heard
Hmm.
from people in our group too that the Kindle version also like didn't always have the map or it wasn't like
Mm.
right or like in the terms of like the formatting. So definitely that was our biggest thing. Would you like to go through the book like and talk about it, or did you want to start with our ratings? How did you want to delve into
That's
this
a
one?
great question. Um, I guess we can go through the book. I do
Okay,
have notes.
same.
So,
So spoilers ahead for Quicksilver. Um,
yes.
why don't we give before we start our spoilers, let's give our non-spoiler review and then we'll say spoiler warning and go into it. So what is
Okay.
your, do you want me to go first or do you have, what's your non-spoiler review?
Why don't you go first? I want to
Okay.
hear what you have to say.
My non-spoiler review, I would say, just so everyone knows, I did rate this. I rated it 3. Lee rated it 2.75, um, which is sad. But I would say it's it's a romantasy. It's definitely like if you're looking for that like classic romantasy, you want to get that itch of it, great. My thing is the idea was there, the concept was there, but I feel like it just wasn't fully executed. It's a
Mhm.
very long book for no reason, which I feel like I'm talking about that like every book we read. I'm like, you can cut it down so much. Um, but and I think for sure you could with this one though, because there was, and we talked about this too on a side, is like it felt like the chapters, the order of the chapters was a little odd. Like I was like, there was some really great emotional
Mm,
times with the two main characters, like the romantic lead. That I was like, if this chapter was just moved earlier before this chapter, then it would have worked. So
right.
like story-wise that needed to work. Like the, the idea that Callie has with like the alchemist, the tattoos they have in the story, the love interest, the love, their conflict, like the things are there. The meat is like kind of there, and that's what's
Sure.
interesting. And that's what I liked about it. But it's like I said, the execution just didn't come to fruition. And I
Yeah.
think I was like, damn, are we reading this book wrong? Because like so many people in the book club, which we love our book club. We love you guys all so much. We just reached 550 members, which is like so
Yay.
insane. Thank
Yeah,
you.
truly.
Truly, like
Truly.
they like freaking love this book and like they were like, oh my God, their goals. And I was just like, no, they're not. And so much of this was like ACOTAR. And it's like, and somebody even compared it to that in their review, and they're like, I've only read ACOTAR, so that's my only reference. And I was like, no, even if you read other romantasy, like this is really a lot like ACOTAR, but
Yeah,
like not in a good way, I would say, to
agreed.
say. Um, so yeah, there's side characters I loved. There's
Mm,
humor I loved. There's like different magic I loved, but there's so much that needs to work on that I was like, this is like a mid book. Like it's kind of boring at points.
yeah.
That's my non-spoiler. Go ahead, Lee.
Yeah. I think you're being kinder than I am. Um, I was so disappointed in this book. And like I think I can tell pretty quickly in a read like how I feel about it. And this one, yeah, I was like, this is not good. Like this is not for me. And I was very disappointed in that. Um, And I think like you are so kind to like think critically and be like, yes, the meat is here. Like, yes, like she had a good story going. And I'm just like, nope. These two like don't flow together at all. I wrote
Mm-mm.
that like the romance feels forced.
It is.
My first note was that it was reminding me of Deal with the Elf King, which like nothing against that book, but that book I read as a palate cleanser, and that was just like a filler. And so to like have that same like sensation was not what I was looking for and not what I thought the hype was. I
Mm-hmm.
also think like this book is it's like the meat of ACOTAR with like the fluff of Lightlark. And I
Mm.
just, those were not like the mixes that were gonna keep me going. I will say, like, yes, the side characters were lovely. I truly enjoyed Lorith and I truly enjoyed Carrion, which the way Carrion is introduced, you're just kind of like, who is this guy? Like, he's just a
Love
punk
him.
who, but then you're truly like, no, give me more Carrion, which I'm sure we'll get into. Also just like some of the little like creatures and things that she created. Once again, we have fire sprites, which
Oh
clearly
yeah.
I love. Hashtag Crescent City. Um, but yeah, the romance really like it didn't click until like I clocked it like 70% through the book where I was like, oh, now I'm feeling a little invested. Like, what's going on here?
Mm-hmm.
And I just that was such a bummer. And like
It
even for a
was.
romantasy, like I that's not what I'm looking for. So that's what I got.
Yeah, I'm just trying to be kind because I just know like a lot of romantasy, like after a certain time, it is repetitive. Like, and I think that's with all literature. Like we all just end up taking ideas from each other and things, but like you have
Yeah.
to stand out on like what makes yours different.
Yeah.
And the things that made hers different weren't strong enough for me. And that's why I said like it's there, the idea is there, but she needed to push it more.
Hmm.
And it didn't really come through. And I think the biggest part of that too for me was that the lore of the world, like the history and the characters, the connections didn't make sense or it was hard to
Yeah.
follow. And the
Yes.
magic system also like was a little hard to follow too. Like Ceres's actual magic and the alchemist thing, that was easy to follow, but everyone
Yes.
else's magic system was
Hmm.
hard to follow
Hmm.
if it even was there.
Right, because it kind of felt like everyone individually had their own system. You know, like
Yes.
she had hers with the Quicksilver, and then I felt like even like Kingfisher's with the Shadow Gates was like its own entity,
Yeah.
and that wasn't, I don't know, it just
I
wasn't
didn't
flowing
understand
for
what
me.
his magic was. Like I didn't
Right.
understand what he could do because then he could like he was that's why I was like he was like a copy of Rhysand because he could like take off your clothes with the shadows, and then he could like
Hmm.
build things with the shadows and then clean things up, and
Hmm.
then the shadow gate. And I was confused too because at the end, spoiler, well, this is actually not really spoiler. There's like the whole like climax scene, and then like they're like trying to get her to safety, and someone's shouting like build the shadow gate, and I was like, who's building the shadow gate? Is it him?
Mm.
Like, can he only do shadow gates? Can other people do shadow
Hmm.
gates? And then it's just like the Fae aspect didn't make sense. And I know that you were talking about the vampire aspect.
Yes. Yeah, because I think when they're like first introduced, like when Malcolm, who's like the big bad, comes into play, like it's not like mentioned. Maybe I have that wrong. But all of a sudden, like they were throwing around the word vampire, and I was like, what?
Yeah, because it
Why?
started with feeders and the
Right.
way that they was described, and like Malcolm, I was like, oh, is it's like a zombie thing? Like they're
Right.
controlled by one, like a White Walker thing. Like they're
Yeah.
controlled by one thing. And
Yeah.
then yeah, then it became like, oh, there's like high vampires and like there's lower vampires, or like
Yeah.
it was really, really confusing.
I thought it was cool that like back in the day, however, thousands of years ago, the Fae got cursed, so they were becoming these vampire-like creatures.
Yeah, that was a cool
And
concept.
yeah, and then I forgot even how, but they had the option to like return to their normal life, their normal Fae heritage. And there was a faction like Malcolm and his people that decided not to. And I thought that was interesting. I was like, okay, so like we've chosen to kind of be bad and or chosen this like creepy way of life. But then just like the way it mixed in with the Fae of like Cerys's time, we'll say, which is like the people that Kingfisher is trying to save. I just didn't like I think you're right. It's like the history of it, the timeline wasn't matching up, or like we just weren't privy to like all of the information.
Or it was an
Even
afterthought, the information.
yeah. Yeah,
Hmm.
because even like towards the end when we get like our big reveal um about who the Fae is or like who is Fae, like you and like other people in our book club had to be like, wait a minute, like can you clear this up for me? Like who is this person? Like are we supposed to remember?
Yeah, there was multiple
Um,
of us that were like, I literally tagged Lee in it. I was like, Lee, who are these people? Like, I don't understand what this is.
And
Like, and I
like
know that we listened to it really quickly, but I still was just like, I don't
yeah.
understand.
But I think that like calls back to there was like a lot of world building in the beginning that was
Hmm.
just kind of like info dumpy, but also like just passed over, like when she's describing the
Yeah.
third and everything. So like you didn't like clue into it, and then it became very important at the end. And you were like, wait, it's been 600 pages now. What
Yes.
do I need to remember?
I think, okay, so I'm going to say spoiler warning now going forward, just in case. So if you haven't read the book, spoiler warning. I think to that point, like I think we needed more time in the beginning of like where she's from, Zabaran, I think it's called.
Hmm.
Like you didn't get as much time, and I thought that was interesting too. Like the whole concept of like the way that the place was set up in the fractions. They didn't really
Yes.
touch on like
No.
the plague that's happening there as well,
No.
and the water rationing. Like that's different. Like
Yes.
we've seen a lot of like starvation, and it reminded me of Powerless. I think I said in the group chat.
Hmm.
But like that was different. And like this queen that is human, quote unquote, but's lived for 1,000 years. Like we just needed more time there to see what was
Hmm.
happening
Right.
and to understand that world before we jumped into the Fey world. Because then we were in the Fey world the entire book. Like there was
Yes.
no part we weren't in the Fey world.
Yeah. Yeah. Where to begin?
Well, that's great. We begin there where we're in, and Saris is introduced. She's stealing the Golden Gauntlet. She
Right.
sees her brother Hayden, when she's trying to, sell the Golden Gauntlet that she took, which we compared it to Aladdin with the one jump
Yeah.
scene, because it basically was.
Yeah.
And then her brother was caught gambling. She's trying to like smooth things over. Her brother decides to go away with the gauntlet to try to sell it. He gets caught, and she has to save him, and then they get
Mhm.
captured by guards.
Mm.
Then she's put in front of the queen. with this guy who eventually comes back later, which that pissed me off because I was like, what is happening?
Yeah.
Anyway, and she gets getting like beat to death, and then she uses her magical powers that nobody knows about because she's an alchemist, and she takes the sword that this guard, I forgot his name, Hayden? No,
Hayden?
no,
No.
that's her brother,
Heron?
Heron, I
I
think.
think it's Heron. Yeah.
Yeah, and uses it against him because it has Quicksilver in it, which is title drop, Quicksilver. Quicksilver is like it's a metal essentially or an element that she can bend because she's a
Hmm.
metal bender. Hashtag Avatar The Last Airbender. And she uses and it like makes you go crazy the more you mess with it. And she's able to escape him and she pulls this secret sword out of something. And Kingfisher appears and she opens the realm to the Fey world that she eventually goes into. That's the
Right.
whole beginning of the book.
Right. And she thinks that he's death.
Yeah, which I wish he was. That would have been
I
so cool.
same. Yeah. I was like, okay, I'll accept. Okay, so she gets to the Fey world and she's dying, like guts spilling out. And she gets taken to like Everlane's quarters. We meet Everlane and she's taking care of her. She's also like undergone a lot of magical help. She has this like pendant, which then we kind of like enter into like Kingfisher is kind of like on the outskirts, but you know that like he's not really accepted. Something's up with him. He's kind of uh feared and like not trusted. But the pendant is actually his
Hmm.
and he really needs it to survive. So
Hmm.
like once she's healthy enough, like he needs to have it back. And we find out that like he and Everlane are brother sister, but like half siblings, and Everlane is the king's daughter. The king is what's his name? Belicon, and
Belicon.
he's just straight awful.
Hmm.
Um, but basically then we just kind of enter into like Quicksilver, Kingfisher, and Ceres are like thrown together to because he wants her to make relics to
Yeah,
help
so at
save his
first
people.
she's commissioned by Belicon to like figure out the traveling through Quicksilver
Hmm.
because essentially we learn later that Madra's the one who locked the portals, but like they had been blaming Kingfisher's father the whole time, even though we learn later that
Right,
Belicon knew that the whole time. Asshole.
right.
So I think she's first commissioned to do that. And so then that's what she's working with Eveline and their little librarian who's adorable. Um,
Yeah, but
I think his name
don't eat in the
Don't eat in the
library.
library. Um, and so she's like trying to learn because everyone thinks if you learn the history of things, you could figure things out. And then he's just like, quick, Fisher's like, no, just like throw her into like the forge, throw her into the
Mhm.
like, make her work with Quicksilver to figure it out.
Which, like, that was also dumb because, like, the moment he mentioned Forge, like, Saris was like, yes, like, I love the Forge. Like, I grew up in the Forge. And we were like, what? Like,
Yeah,
did you mention that? Like, it was one of those moments where, like, okay,
yeah.
be the fantasy FMC.
Well, she had that a lot. She had the fantasy FMC moments when she's just like, oh, I hate dresses. Like dresses suck. Where are my pants? And we're like, we don't care. Thank you.
Yeah,
Like I get
yeah,
it. Like nobody cares.
yeah.
Um, and then after that, when she learns about like what Quicksilver is, essentially that like they was used as like portals and transportation, which I don't know why she didn't figure that out. She's like, I can get back to my brother and I can get back there.
Right,
And she like
right.
tries to essentially do that, but the Quicksilver is like yelling at her and
Hmm.
Fisher saves her essentially. And
Hmm.
he makes a deal with her. And he's like,
Hmm.
if I go get your brother, you have to come with me and help me instead and not Belicon and help me make the relics. Um, for my people to save them from the Quicksilver, and then I can send you back home. Because Belkan, I don't think ever mentioned to her that she's going home. I think he's just like, you're mine now.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Which, like,
she goes with him.
dumb of her to try to escape. Like, she literally knows nothing about the world or the palace that she's in, but she tries
Hmm.
to escape. So then Kingfisher has to save her. And, like, if it wasn't because she's like the most powerful alchemist, like, he wouldn't save her, right? So that
Hmm.
was like annoying. And also just like this is when we see them together and we see like their dynamic and she is so annoyed with him.
Hmm.
Like like I don't know how many times she said it and I was like very frustrated. I was like, you don't even like know him. Like, sure,
No.
everyone else like hates him, but like he hasn't actually done anything to you. Like he saved your life twice now. Like, why are you being so antagonistic?
Hmm.
And then I had to laugh the scene like where they first are like intimate and she tries to steal the ring from him.
Oh my God.
And he was like, "Yeah, girly, like I know what you're doing. Like you're not a thief."
Yeah.
And the only thing that was like fine about that was like it set up a scene later when she steals the coin from
Yes.
Malcolm.
Yeah.
So like I'll give Callie Hart props for like, okay, like you set
Full
that up for
circle.
us. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I just thought the characterization was weird. And like just you could tell she's a romance writer because the first page, like literally the first two pages where they talk about Kingfisher, they're just being lewd. And I was like, why are we just focusing on his body parts? Like,
Hmm.
this is stupid.
Hmm.
And then like when she's like trying to steal from him, she's obsessed with his sweat and she's like turned on by his sweat. I wrote that down. I was like, why do you care about his sweat so much?
That was funny. Yeah. No, you're right. Especially when she's like trying to see if he could lie, and like the first thing to talk about is like his dick size. It's like, what?
Yeah, yeah. And he
No.
throws it back in her face. Another like note to Akatar though, the not lying.
Oh yeah.
Although the Fae in this truly can't lie, which
Hmm.
I thought was interesting.
If
Yeah,
they make the oath, then they can't
a
lie.
lot of oaths.
A lot of oaths. Yeah, how do you feel about so then as we keep going forward, they make this deal and they're bound to this deal, essentially a copy of Feyre and Rhysand with their deal. But like how do you feel about like the control aspect? So like he can control her and like she does that throughout the book where he like takes her free will away and like makes her
Hmm.
and like that chapter where like she sat in a bed for 5 days and he like wouldn't let her get up and let's use the bathroom. I was like, I would literally go crazy. Like I
I
would go
know
crazy. And I was like, I would
you're like,
hate
I'd
this
have a panic
person.
attack. Yeah.
Yes, I would not be like, oh my God, eventually fall in love with them. No, I'd be like, never talk to me
No,
again. Like, that
no.
is insane.
See, that's where I was like, any kind of romance from here on out is 100% forced because I like if he's gonna be the character that like makes you do things like stay in bed to heal or whatever, then that's who he is. Like he wants power, he wants control, he has it, and he's gonna take it. Like there's you can't have that and then be like, oh no, I would die for you, like I would tear down the mountains for you, or like whatever like frilly words he says. I'm like, no,
Yeah,
that's
she was trying to paint
not.
him as like this mysterious. Essentially, she was trying to do what they did with Rhysand, like with like him, like being an asshole to everyone else, but like he's soft for you, or like this
Yeah.
mysterious thing. Which in the end, like we've talked about it before, like even with Rhysand, like it doesn't work out. Like Rhysand just is an asshole in the end, and like she's trying to do that here with him, with like because he's like battling all of the stuff in his head, and he's like essentially like going crazy.
Hmm.
Like then. I don't know. I just needed that to be like explained more or to like show his personality more. Like you really don't see his personality till like close to the end.
Yeah. And I think
And
like a lot of the group was saying, like, let me gather my thoughts. How how can he like be this controlling? Like, why does he care about her? But then at the end, we get this whole like prophecy thing with his mother, and like you have to go back and like rethink about everything because you're like, we know now that he knew from the jump who she was.
mhm.
And even if he didn't have feelings for her, like he knew she was like gonna be important enough. to him. So like
Hmm.
it makes a little more sense of like what he was doing, but it's still like I still don't buy it that he like fell so hard for her or that like again that she would allow herself to feel for him
Hmm.
because like she just went through so much trauma. Like I wrote like Beauty and the Beast much, but like to the extreme also.
Hmm. Like your
And like
captor, falling in love with your captor.
yeah, and it just it that bothered me. Yeah. Um Another thing I wrote down was he calls her Majesty
Oh my
in
God.
chapter 23. He like scolds people and he's like, "No, it's Majesty." Um And I'm like finishing it and like looking back, is that because like he knew like she was his mate? Or is that did he know something about like her? Because at the end of the book she does become a queen, but she's a queen of vampires.
Hmm.
So I'm like, what is this? But also I felt like that calling her Majesty was so like dropped in there and then never really like called back to. Because even
Yeah.
like all the times they talked about being mates or whatever, like I still don't feel like we got a full history of like who is Kingfisher. Because like obviously like those are two words that they've put together to
Hmm.
describe him, you know? And like we said earlier, like we don't know his real name.
Yeah, if that is his real name, yeah. Which
So
I liked that concept of the book where you don't know everyone's real names and stuff,
yeah.
but like it still was like I feel like I just walked away not really knowing who this character is, other than knowing that like he sacrifices for everyone and he does all this stuff for everyone. Again, it's very much Rasan coded. Like it was just
Yeah.
ironic that the actor was the same guy. Like
Yeah.
it's you don't see who he is at his core, and that's what's bothering me. And I know that's because like he was going crazy, but like I don't know, I just needed that in it to
Right.
understand like
Because,
why she would fall for him.
yeah, like everything we got about him was either from his past. So, like when he's talking about his mom and like the prophecy and whatever. And then like you would see him like when he's with Archer, like the sprite, and he's like being kind, or like when he was with Taylena, or
Hmm.
like the old lady they come across and
Hmm.
like in the village with his apartment. And like so like he has this like softer side with people that he's like grown up with, which again is very like Beauty and the Beast, like the prince and the servants. Everything you see about his character is either from his past or like from like small interactions with people. Like there's nothing I feel like in the moment where you're like, oh, he's like a genuinely good person or anything like that. Or he's just making sacrifices, like when he abruptly leaves and leaves her that note and is like, tell Lorith like he was my best friend or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, bro.
Like, what the hell was that? That was annoying too. And like I feel like even with her too, I was gonna say, you also learn more about her through only the past stories. Like I feel like
Mm.
I really didn't get to know her well enough. Like I just knew that she was stubborn. She
Mhm.
is like smart, I guess, with science and stupid with everything else, it seems like. I don't know. And like I loved hearing about her mom and that backstory and what they went through. Like I wish I saw more of that stuff, I guess, or just like was able to see more of her life before she got taken away to the Feyland, because then you get to know her as a character. And I feel like you just didn't get to know her that well.
Oh, in chapter 29, I was like, there's actual character growth. Like her wanting to stay, like admitting that she wants to stay in the Fey world was like she says it's more about like learning, and like learning her powers and like learning about the Fey rather than just like I've fallen in love with this big man. Like
Yeah,
so I appreciated that. I was like,
me
okay,
too.
but also like why is it taking this long for me to feel that?
I think it
So,
was in Linnea's review that she shout out Linnea. She said like her whole goal is to like get back to her brother, and then her brother's still nowhere to be found by the end of it. I was just like, that is so true. Like it goes away. And I did appreciate that, like she said she wanted to stay and it was like something that she wanted to do for herself. And I do like that when they have that with the characters of like,
mhm,
stay for you, like do something for you. And like
mhm.
that's again very Feyre coded because Feyre does the same. Um, but yeah, it just was annoying that like her brother never came into the story again.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the cop out is like Carrion says, like, oh, I like made sure he was taken care of. Like, I moved him to a different like faction and like he has a job now. So like she did have that kind of sense of security for her
Hmm.
brother. But you're right. It was also like,
Again, Feyre, when she's like, "Oh, my sisters are taken care of in the human land. I'm good to
yep,
live in
be
the
with my
fairyland."
boyfriend. Yeah.
Yeah, literally that.
Yeah.
Um, Why don't we skip along in the story? You know, she's obviously like helping him out, falling for him, I guess, or whatever. They have a lot of connections. The same with the vampires, like we said. She realizes like this whole thing is going on. You know, skip ahead. Evelyn gets captured, and sadness, love her. Even though we got like 2 chapters with her.
Right.
Um, and they have to like band together. They get a witch. Randomly, witches are in the story.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, he does this whole sacrifice. He's gonna save everyone. And then we get to the info dumps of the book again. They have found um Fisher, Fisher went to give himself up so Evelyn could live. They get Evelyn through the Shadow Gate, and then they all run through the Shadow Gate to get to Fisher. So Carrion, Saris, and Lorith will
Mm-hmm.
go through, and
Mm-hmm.
this is where we get so much information. We learn that Belicon, Madra, and
Malcolm.
Malcolm are siblings.
Yes, it's never like confirmed what that word means, but they
They
call
call
each
each other
other brother and
brother.
sister. So,
Yeah, and they are just evil and they like to be evil.
mhm.
Backstory, oh, you know, say we don't know. And she Malcolm has no soul, he just wants to be a vampire. Madra just loves living her life. And
Malcolm is also
Belicon,
like in love with Kingfisher.
yeah,
Like it
a
was very
hundred percent.
like an Amarantha situation, and that made
Mm-hmm.
me uncomfortable.
Well, it was
I
Amarantha's situation because he put him in a labyrinth through
yeah,
trials.
yeah, and I was just like, I went on Reddit to be like, what's going on with Malcolm and Kingfisher? And everyone was like, that he just like, that was his pet. And I was like, "Ugh, I don't like it. I
Mm-mm.
didn't need it.
Mm-mm.
So,
Yeah, we learned that Belicon killed Fisher's father and blamed Fisher's father for the portal closing, but that he knew all along that it was Madra who closed them because she just was mad at her brother because he sent someone to kill her and then it didn't work out. They act like they're gods, essentially. Like they
yeah.
act like they're immortal, they're gods. Nothing is like everyone's below them. And they had made a deal with Fisher that if he, well, I think it was just Malcolm and Belicon because he didn't know about Madra until that day,
Right.
made a deal with them to save the people at this battle they had. Um, and it ends up going in Fisher's face. He gets trapped in a labyrinth for 150 years
Mhm.
because they're like, when the coin hits the floor, and then they hide the coin and it never hits the floor. And also, all of the Fae are suffering that are trapped there. They're burning. That's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah. Right, because wasn't wasn't Fisher gonna like kill them to put them out of their misery? Like wasn't he gonna trap them? Wasn't that
Something like
like
that.
the compromise? Because I remember like listening to it and being like, this doesn't sound as bad as they're making it out to be. Like, because they were really trying to like turn like Saris against Fisher. Like he was gonna tell her this awful thing that he did, and she was never gonna want to see him again. And I think when they said it, I was like, oh, like it doesn't sound that bad. Like it sounds like he chose what he had to do to save more people.
Yeah, he was essentially trying to save everyone. Um, and ends up, we learn that Belicon has been letting this like battle between the Fae and the vampires go on because he's like, I'm trying to help my brother build his vampire army. And
I can't.
so yeah, then they all come head to head and they end up having to go into the labyrinth to escape.
Mhm.
And she's trying to find the Quicksilver to, I guess, end them all. And
and like set
Yeah,
them
what'd you think of all this?
like I think I got a little I don't even want to say annoyed, but like removed because it just became Ektar. Like the labyrinth with the giant monster that they're fighting. I was just like, okay, yeah, like we've read this before. And so it just like wasn't original to me. Also, like I'm so tired of like spiders being the big monster. And like truly that starts with Lord of the Rings. And like there are so many creatures that you could create. Like, why does it have to be a spider? Like I know we're all afraid of them. Hashtag Italy Airbnb, but
Yes.
but I just want more originality, something like the map here has dragons in it. Did we see dragons?
Yeah, no, they mentioned a dragon head. Like, I guess there was a last dragon or something, and then that seems like something she's setting up for future books, I guess.
Okay, there's also a
Um,
sea monster, like a Loch Ness monster. Did we see that? No.
no. Yeah, I think it was just too much at the end. Like, there was just so much going on that you were like, what? Like, if you had gotten that, like, pace throughout the book better, it would have made more sense.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of like, okay, everyone figure this out. Like, let's get this going. The only thing I enjoyed was the twist with Carrion and him ending up
Oh.
being Fae. Like, we
Mm-hmm.
knew things up with him the whole book. Like, that wasn't like a
Mm-hmm.
thrown, like, randomly at you. But that was pretty cool. But yeah, again, I forgot what the backstory was. Like you had to help me with that. And I like the idea of the coin because it felt like you see this a lot in like the Greek mythologies and things like that when the gods are just like so removed and they like to like play games and they think like it'll always work in their favor and they do like
Yeah.
stupid things like this. Not stupid. They do like simple things like this. Like if you
Mm-hmm.
can move this rock from here to here, it's impossible. And then the human figures out
Right.
it's not an impossible task. Like how to defeat an impossible task. I like those stories. I think they're very interesting and it shows like the morals of the characters and that was cool. And that's why I
Okay.
liked when it eventually led to the discovery that the Quicksilver, like the people speaking to her, was some of the gods. And
Mm.
I commented this a lot, and Lee does not feel the same, but I love a God story. Like, again, I love the idea of like facing gods who are not always moral, and especially
Mm.
because they've been around for so long and they live so long,
Mm-hmm.
and how that affects them like this isn't a spoiler for you, but they touch on this in From Blood and Ash a lot, and like there's even a part where some of the gods go to sleep because they think after a certain amount of time, like they lose their sense of, I guess, humanity in a sense.
Okay.
And it's like that'll affect your choices and the things that you do as a god. So like I love that idea when it's touched on in literature. And that's why I was like excited to see the gods aspect and when she had to meet them. Was it confusing as hell? Yes. It was very confusing when he's just like, well, the tree is dying and the universe is dying. It's very much like the TVA and like all the different in the Marvel
Yeah,
universe,
yeah, it
the
was kind of a
branches.
Thanos. Yeah.
And then he's like,
I-
the way to solve this is if you disconnect yourself from fate or disconnect from the universe, I guess you got disconnected from.
Right. It's like she can no longer be like assisted by the gods. Like she
Mm,
can be with Fisher, but they're on their own, I think. Um, but it's like it's interesting that you say that about like the gods because it makes me think of time and like gods are timeless, gods are immortal, right? So if they're feeling like there's so much time and they lose things, this like Kingfisher is 1700 years old.
oh my
And I feel
God.
like that concept of time was too much.
I
And
agree.
like how old are the gods? Like that's insane to think about. And I just like I would love to know like why authors feel like they have to make them so old because I just think it warps the concept of time. And so like when we're reading this book and it's like over a span of a month, let's say. Like, why is that important to these people then? Like, if they've
Hmm.
spent over 50 years in a labyrinth, or like, didn't he spend like 8 years and he didn't eat or drink because
Yes.
Malcolm like bewitched it so? Like, I don't
Hmm.
understand.
Hmm. I
I
agree.
I just don't think we need to like break our brains like that. Like, make them 100 years old. Okay, like, sure, we know that they're old.
Well, that's what I love
But
about Vampire Diaries. I love that show so much. But like it touches on that a lot because like the vampires, our main characters, like they're only 100 years old. Like Stefan and Damon I think are like 120 or 100 and something.
yeah.
And but then you meet Klaus and the originals and they're 1,000 years old. And you can tell like that has really fucked with them in a way
Mm.
of like they're not all nice and they're not all morally
No.
great. And
Mhm. They
they
don't
still have
care.
it like deep down inside them, and that's why they need the characters around them to bring it up, but like they don't care. And like that makes sense to us. It's easy to wrap your brain around. It's like, yeah, of course, if you're alive for 1,000 years, like so much is going to change because you just see life ending and happening. So why
Yeah.
would you? So
Yeah.
much would change and your view and perspective of things. So I agree. Like him being 1,000 or 1700, like that's insane. It's
So,
so unnecessary. And she's 24.
yeah. It's not. We don't
It's
need
not.
it.
It's just
Um,
like when we talk about ACOTAR and they hold on to grudges for 500 years. How?
right. Yeah. There's no
Why?
space for that. Like it just, so you're a child. That's what you're telling us.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, the end, were you expecting like a cliffhanger? Like, what did you think was gonna happen?
I actually didn't know this was a like I knew it was a series
Oh,
because it
okay.
said I okay, that's a lie. I knew it was a series because it said it in like Alchemy book one like on it. So like I
Oh,
knew it was a
sure.
series. But I just was like I didn't know if it was a continuation of like their story.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
and I know that we like I sent you something on Instagram that like there was like rumors and things from what the authors discussed. Like someone put like a whole thing together and they talk about like the author does plan to do like Carrion story. So like I thought it was gonna be that.
Mhm.
The way that the gods talked to her in that, it sounded like the universe was dying and she has to save the universe. So I was just like, is this becoming a sci-fi story? I was like, are we gonna have like jumping
Yeah.
universes and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Um, but her being the vampire queen, it's also like an ending that's in another book I read, and I didn't really love that in this one because of that. And I don't want to tell you what
Uh-oh.
book it is because I want you to read that book.
Okay, okay.
But yeah, it just you said it was giving Twilight, and it was giving Twilight.
Yeah. It was. I don't I mean, okay, if it's giving Twilight, then maybe we have to be like, okay, great. So for the next generation of readers, like maybe this is what they're gonna fall in love with and like awesome. But for us, we've been there, done that. There's better things.
Hmm.
So maybe that's, I don't know, a twist you can take on it. Also, like I'm looking at the book now and the part with the god is like relatively short.
Hmm. It's one chapter.
Like listening to it, I felt like maybe just because I was confused, I was like, this is a long time that she's like in a separate space. And she's confused. But yeah, no, I really thought the ending was gonna be like somehow like Saris and Fisher have been separated or like he's gone and sacrificed himself somehow. So I thought like that was gonna be a big cliffhanger. I thought it just
Mm.
kind of ended. Like she doesn't want to be the queen. They don't even have like a cute like reunion. Like she just kind of wakes up and they're like, "Oh, you're in the middle of your change." And there's a weird moment where Teledeus is like, "Do you like me?" And it's like, "What?" I was like, "Cause he's her sire." I was like,
Yeah.
"Is this gonna be something?" But they've already claimed themselves as mates, so I don't think we're going in that
Which I told
direction.
you, I thought that was really funny that she accidentally claimed him as a mate when she said it out loud. And she was like, oh
She
shit, I claimed him as a mate. And I was like, that's actually really funny. That was funny. It was like made it less dramatic. Like it made it
Yeah.
funny. And I
Yeah.
liked that. And that felt like a joke on like mates and things.
Hmm.
Yeah, I actually think I was under the impression that it would be something where like they have to go back to like save her land, like Madra and stuff like that. But
Mm-hmm.
again, realizing as we've talked about it today, I'm like, oh well, does she actually really care about her land? Like she doesn't actually care about like even like the whole her whole thing of like just wanting to get Hayden and Elroy over to her. Like
Right.
there's
True.
no which I think Quick Fisher talks about that, like not like does she feel the responsibility of like going back and why does she feel like the responsibility of going back and doing that? And she's like, well, because it's right. But like her responsibility that she's framing for herself is just to save the two people she loves, not to save everyone. Even though
Right.
she has this power and like it could be her responsibility to do so,
Yeah.
which is different. I appreciate that because we talked about that when we even watched like The Last of Us, like the characters like Ellie in that, and like being like, does that character have the moral responsibility to then save
Mm.
everyone because of their position? Like, do
Hmm.
they really need to do it? And I think that's something that Saris in this is like grappling with of like, well, I just want to get my brother and Elroy. Like, I don't need to save the rest of everything else is doomed,
Yeah.
so why am I going to save it? It's like, well, maybe you do have the
Yeah.
power though. And
Yeah.
especially now that you have made friends with all these Fae people, like, wouldn't you actually be the one that could help take down Madra in the
Hmm.
end?
Yeah.
Which
That's a
I
good
guess is
point.
what's going to come forward. But the way that it ended with it, her being like the vampire queen, I was just like, oh, so like is she gonna even care about that? Like, will she care about the greater good of everyone else around her? But then she's had such a shitty life in the third.
True.
Maybe she feels like she doesn't owe anything to anyone. They all deserve
Yeah.
that. And it's like, do they?
Yeah. I mean, but then again, like to bring back the Captain Heron and just kind of like reiterate how awful her life was, like, is that like the nail in the coffin where she's like, no, screw you guys. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I thought that was so strange. I was like, why is this guy here? Like,
That was annoying.
it's just dumb. I think it again, like if it wasn't for the club, like I wouldn't carry on. Like
You
this
wouldn't have
would
finished it.
I read it, I did it. But I don't think I would read the next one, but like the next one comes out in November, I think. So we have to read it. So
We have to read it,
we have
obviously.
to read it.
Also, July 1st, the bonus chapters are coming out recorded because they're already on her website for free, and now
Hmm.
he's gone back and recorded them, and they're from Fisher's point of view. So maybe that'll help us.
But also that's giving Twilight too. Like that's Edward's Midnight Sun. Like the clip you sent me was creepy, and I was like, I don't care.
Oh my God, I really hope our next book goes better than this.
I mean, like you said, we don't have to like them all.
No, we don't. We
They're not
really
all
don't.
good.
I just feel bad because now you have the physical copy.
I know. I'm like, I got it for my birthday.
Lee was really excited, guys, like really excited. All that to say, our overall rating was mid. Lee's was
It
no,
was mid.
absolutely not. Take with it what you will, definitely if you're a huge romantasy person or you just like a romantasy book that's just like it'll tick all your boxes and that, yeah,
Hmm.
sure. But there's still issues with it. We didn't love it. But check out our book club on the app Fable, Mystic Tales and Fae Tales podcast, because you could go through the chapters with what we've done. We comment and everyone's commenting in it, theorizing, or just like, oh my gosh, reacting. And then also we put in fan art in it from Pinterest. So like it's always saved in the archive. So you can always come back and read it, even if you haven't read it with us specifically.
Yeah.
And our next book is an exciting new book that just came
Hmm.
out last month. The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig. Have you read Rachel yet?
No,
Me either.
no. But
This is very exciting.
oh, she's going to the Ripped Bodice, but in LA. I saw like a promo for it and I was like, oh my gosh, but it was LA. I was like,
Yeah.
bummer. So no, I'm excited for that one. I don't know what it's about, I'm gonna be honest. And I don't like the cover. So
I like the cover, and I have a fun story. At Comic-Con last year, so this was 2024 Comic-Con, I got a free poster.
oh wow.
And it was The Night and the Moth, best-selling Rachel Gillick, comes the next big romantasy sensation, a gothic miscloaked tale of a young prophet who is forced on an impossible quest with the one infuriating knight whose future is beyond her sight. Pre-order now, available May 2025. Oh, I'm sorry, it came out
Uh-huh.
2 months ago. But yes, I have a poster of it, and I think that's so funny. Because now, almost like a year later of me getting this,
I
we're
know.
gonna we're gonna read it and see what we think. If you haven't read that book yet and you're interested in reading, join our book club on Fable. You can read it with us as we go through it. And then our next full-length episode or depending on the schedule, will be about that book. So you can also break it down with us.
Hmm. Yeah,
Um,
it'll be fun.
Anything else for Quicksilver, Lee?
I don't think so.
You're like, please stop. I don't want to talk about this book ever again.
No, I mean, if anyone, no one can change my mind, but I don't mind hearing other people who like do enjoy it, like why they enjoy it. Like, so if
Mhm.
you have thoughts and feelings that are contrary to ours, please share.
Let us know on our Instagram or our TikTok at Faye Tales Podcast, or join our
Yeah.
book club and let us know there. Also on the app Babel, we have two other book clubs. We have a Hunger Games one and a Fourth Wing for first timers. If you have not read any of those series yet, you should, and you can comment along, and we are still active in it, and we will check it. Um, like I said, follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Faye Tales Podcast, and we hope that you enjoyed this review of Quicksilver by Callie Hart. Hopefully, your next read is five-star read, and we hope for the same because we need a five-star.
Hmm.
Happy reading.
Happy reading, everyone.